Now, it's been a while since I reminded everyone about the freelance government, things that happened over in Prospera and Honduras, and how it relates to the AI murders, um, to Sam Altman's co partner that mysteriously died, and Charlie Kirk, and several others. So let's review a bit about what I said was coming on 10/26/24. It is called free market governance. What that means is that they make their own bio laws like zoning laws, disputes through arbitration platform.
Now let's jump to Albania because this next one is wild in a completely different way. The country has just appointed a new minister, and no, it's not a human, it's an AI chatbot named Diella. This bot has been officially tasked with handling public procurement in an effort to stamp out corruption. And if you know anything about Albania's recent history, corruption has been a huge roadblock. It's one of the reasons the country's still struggling to get into the European Union after trying since 2009. So here's what happened. Diella originally launched back in January as a simple assistant helping citizens navigate Albania's e-government portal, basically guiding people through forms, court cases, and bureaucracy. Pretty standard stuff.
It's called free market governance. What that means is that they make their own bio laws like zoning laws, disputes through arbitration platforms. They can really be an AI judge and levy their own taxes. So basically, it is a platform that delivers governance in cooperation with the existing country's government.
But this summer, Prime Minister Edi Rama floated the idea of a digital AI minister, and most people thought it was just speculation. Fast forward a few months and Diella gets promoted straight to cabinet level. Rama called her the first cabinet member who is not physically present but virtually created by AI. That's a big deal, both symbolically and practically. Her job now is to evaluate every single proposal from private companies in public tenders. And this isn't just about efficiency. She's been programmed to flag anything suspicious. Signs of money laundering, drug trafficking, or shady dealings that could tie into organized crime. If she finds problems, she can block proposals. And Rama even said Diella would be able to hire talents from all over the world. That part's still vague, but it suggests some kind of global reach in managing tenders. Technically, she's built on OpenAI's large language models running through Microsoft's Azure cloud. So under the hood, it's not some mystery system. It's the same foundation tech we're seeing everywhere else, just wrapped in a government-specific layer. OpenAI. Peter Thiel, Sam Altman. Think about that. The Palantir boys, the billionaire mafia people. What's striking is how Albania is using it straight into governance with the explicit goal of eliminating corruption. Rama claims this will make tenders 100% incorruptible and all public funds 100% legible. That's now, if you believe that, you gotta be out your rabbit mind, as we're going to find out later on in the segment that an AI is only as good as how it's trained or how it's programmed. Bold, and whether it holds up under real-world pressure is the real test. I've warned everyone about this freelance government, and this is the segment I pointed to about 2.5 years ago about the freelance government. And you're going to see how it's relevant to what's happening in America right now, especially during the shutdown, especially involves the farmers and the taking of their land. This is what's coming. This is what's being instituted right now. And what happened in Prospera is already happening with California Forever. That is another place just like Prospera.
Melinda St. Louis, if you can explain what's happening in Honduras.
It is absolutely outrageous that in Honduras, after the coup in 2009, there was this radical project to create these zedes, as you mentioned, private cities that U.S. corporations could come in and control the territory. The territory was removed from municipal jurisdictions, and then they had the power as a corporation to set their own regulatory standards, tax policy, monetary policy, security forces, have their own separate court system.
So that means that they were their own sovereign country inside of a country. This is what the billionaires are trying to do here. That's why they buying up all the farmland. That's why Trump tanked the soybean purchases from China so that people would have their farms foreclosed on. It sounds kind of crazy, don't it? Pay attention.
And basically run their own government. And in the case of Roatan, this company, Prospera, came in and established this private zone where the governance structure does not allow for representative democracy from the people of the community. And at first, the people in the community didn't even know that this was happening. It's happening in such an opaque format. And once people understood what this meant in terms of taking away Honduran sovereignty and taking away land from communities, there was massive uprising. Indigenous people, community organizations, even the largest business association in Honduras.
Now, what I want to say right here is that this is what I believe is happening right now. That the billionaires have a drawn out plan to take our land. And it's going to happen in almost the exact same way that it happened with Prospera. See, during the previous administration, notice she said there was a coup. During the previous administration, there was a guy similar to Trump, and he was ready to sell off their land for whatever it was, but he did not disclose all of the laws with the property as far as the land they were buying. And he didn't disclose that for a reason, because they technically had changed the laws for them. So once he was out of office after the coup, that's when everybody found out about the way that he sold the land to them, to where it was no longer a part of Honduras. And then, because of the international trade agreement, it seems that Prospera was allowed to buy the land for about $120 million. But when they said, hey, y'all can't have this land forever, we are getting out of that deal, because it was kind of like a international trade deal. So they kind of like stepping out of NATO. So they rescinded their membership to that. So that made the deal null and void as far as where they could impose any infractions for breaking the contract. They said that's what the old guy did. This is the new administration, and we voted. And we said, nah, we ain't gonna honor that. That was some bull crap. That was some personal stuff to put money in his pocket. You're not taking our land forever. Now, currently, for $120 million, they're asking for reparations. If they are going to give the land back, they want $11 billion. They say that's how much it's worth to them, which is half the country's GDP. Yes. Now, who, pray tell, came up with this number? Who were the original investors? We'll find out in just a moment. Now, arbitration is in progress. Prospera filed its claim in 2022. That's when I brought it to you all. With the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes, the ICSID, under the Dominican Republic and Central America Free Trade Agreement. The case is still pending, with a decision awaited from the arbitration. Now, that arbitration is now null and void, but they still negotiating. Now, what I really want to say is this. Funding sources. The funds were gathered from like-minded business titans and investors with the prominent backers including Peter Thiel, yes, Palantir Peter Thiel, Sam Altman, yes, AI Sam Altman, OpenAI, and Mark Anderson. Now, structure. The capital was raised through a network of nearly 24 U.S. and Cayman Island companies. Yes, where Jeffrey Epstein used to hide all the money for his supposed billionaire financiers. Yes.
Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, is now at the center of a high-profile legal battle after his sister, Ann Altman, filed a shocking lawsuit accusing him of sexually abusing her for nearly a decade.
Sam Altman and OpenAI talk a big talk. They say the technology they're rolling out could transform society for the better. It could cure deadly diseases and perhaps make work obsolete. And that story has brought in tons of money. In recent weeks, the company has signed up to a number of deals valued at an astonishing $1 trillion.
My own personal equivalent of the Turing test has always been when AI can do science. That is always that is a real change to the world. And for the first time with GPT-5, we are seeing these little examples where it's happening. You see these things on Twitter. It made this novel math discovery and did this small thing in my physics research, my biology research.
In this tweet from Sam Altman, in terms of how this company is going to make money, that's obviously not how he phrased it, but how I interpreted it was this. In December, as we roll out age gating more fully, and as part of our treat adult users like adults principle, we will allow even more, you guessed it, erotica for verified adults. Barry, I think we could see this coming, but is $1 trillion being invested into a glamorized porn bot?
Now that you know that, here's where it gets interesting with Sam Altman.
It just seems to me that when you tell me a story about the Antichrist coming to power and using the fear of technological change to sort of impose order on the world, I feel like that Antichrist would maybe be using the tools that you were building, right? Wouldn't the Antichrist be like, great, we're not going to have any more technological progress, but I really like what Palantir has done so far, right?
Yeah,
isn't that a concern? Wouldn't that be the irony of history would be that the man publicly worrying about the Antichrist accidentally hastens his or her arrival?
There are all these different scenarios. I obviously don't think that that's what I'm doing.
Now, you have to understand that Peter Thiel is Sam Altman's partner in crime. And so he has been preaching this Antichrist, AI is going to ruin the world. And, that is the 666 coming of the Antichrist. And yet your Palantir is in 3/4 of the world. And you're in partnership with the other half, which is the OpenAI ChatGPT. So it is your 666 that you are talking about that's coming. And he's sitting there trying to say, oh, no, that's not, I wouldn't characterize it, but you have the most power in the world when it comes to, the digital realm and the Open GPT chat coming together. These billionaire, AI geniuses have cornered every market there is. So why not admit that you're literally talking about your own creation? Now, I said that this is where it gets weird with Sam Altman. That was Peter Thiel, his partner in crime.
Question we're going to try to answer today. Would OpenAI murder a whistleblower?
I've done too many interviews where I've been accused of
Oh, I'm not accusing you at all. I'm just saying.
You understand how this sounds like an accusation.
So you had complaints from one programmer who said you guys were basically stealing people's stuff and not paying them, and then he wound up murdered. What was that?
Also a great tragedy. He committed suicide.
Do you think he committed suicide?
I really do.
I bet he does.
I spoke to someone who's involved at scale of the development of the technology who said they lie. Have you ever seen that?
They hallucinate all the time, yeah. Or not all the time. They used to hallucinate all the time. They now hallucinate a little bit.
What does that mean? What's the distinction between hallucinating and lying?
But in the early days, if you asked, in what year was President, the made-up name, President Tucker Carlson of the United States born?
Mm-hmm.
What it should say is, I don't think Tucker Carlson was ever president of the United States.
Right.
But because of the way they were trained, that was not the most likely response in the training data. So it assumed like, I don't know that there wasn't. The users told me that there was President Tucker Carlson, so I'll make my best guess at a number.
And so they worship it. There's a spiritual component to it. Do you detect that? Have you ever felt that?
No, there's nothing to me at all that feels divine about it or spiritual in any way. But I am also like a tech nerd, and I kind of look at everything through that lens.
So what are your spiritual views?
I'm Jewish.
Boom. So we've all been saying how Israel has been, the pawn that's pushing our president, and that they may have compromised our president. And we believe that this is the reason, and it all comes down to the Epstein files, that this is the reason that possibly Charlie Kirk was killed. Because they say that his OpenAI GPT chat says that Charlie Kirk was worth more dead to the right-wing cause than alive. You can ask ChatGPT yourself. But I have a guy that already asked the whole, matter of fact, he had a whole hour on this, where he's just asking GPT chat questions. And they said if Charlie Kirk was alive, it'd probably be about $100 to $200 million that they reap benefit from. That means the right cause, right? So the Republican cause. But if he was dead, with his shift that he was going away from Israel, if we killed him now and made him a martyr, saying that the left killed him, then it would be worth about $800 billion. They can market that. That's what his GPT chat says. Here's the video.
That was about 4 hours before Charlie Kirk was shot. That is a coincidence. But how much is Charlie Kirk worth to Republicans in America over these 2 years, assuming he's still alive? Let's just go down to the summary after it breaks down everything as beautifully. In summary, Kirk's alive presence would be $150 to $250 million asset, primarily through fundraising firepower and youth activation critical for defending Trump's agenda against midterm headwinds. Boy, that's interesting. Let's see, 150 to 250 million. That's a smaller number than 8 billion, isn't it? 250 million is smaller than 8 billion because 8 billion is the equivalent of 8,000 million. So are you telling me that 8,000 of something is a whole crap load more than 250 of something? I ain't no math magician, but I'm pretty sure 8 billion is a much bigger number than 250 million. Are you telling me that Charlie Kirk getting off by a leftist is worth a whole hell of a lot more to Israel than Charlie Kirk being alive for the same duration of time to the Republicans and conservatives of the United States?
Well, are you hearing what this man is saying? Now, keeping that in mind, then there's also this other aspect. Now that you know that they're going to use these GPT chats to make all their business decisions, here's how we know for sure that Charlie Kirk was turning against Israel.
Charlie writes, Jewish donors play into all of the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause.
Some of the things that have been going around on public, namely about a group text chain that has been made known and released by Candace Owens. And I just want to address it head on because, that was a screen grab that I had shared with people. So it is authentic. And I want to...
How concerned is Sam Altman about annihilation, do you think?
I think in reality he's not concerned about it.
I don't trust OpenAI. I started that company as a non-profit open source. I named a company, OpenAI, as an open source, and it is now extremely closed source and maximizing profit.
Well, but Sam Altman got rich, though, didn't he?
At various points, he's claimed not to be getting rich, but he's claimed many things that were false. Now, apparently, he's going to get $10 billion of stock or something like that. I don't trust Sam Altman, and I don't think we want to have the most powerful AI in the world controlled by someone who is not trustworthy.